praise, all the honor, and all the glory go to YAHAWAH'S. Peace and safety to the hopefully elect, all the sincere brothers and sisters out there, those scattered to the four corners that sincerely believe in the Heavenly Father through who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And in this lesson, I'm gonna deal with the glittering sword, man. We have a lot of false doctrines out there that's saying that this glittering sword is the so-called white man missiles. All right, and I'm gonna debunk that in this lesson and give you the correct understanding of what the glittering sword is, what the Lord arrows is, man. So the first precept, I want to go to Job chapter 20, and I'll bring it out, man, and give you some understanding on what the Lord arrows is, man. Okay, so this is Job chapter 20, and I'll start at verse 22, give some context. So it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. He shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him when he is about to fill his belly. And the his is talking about Esau, Edom, man. All right. That's the context. So it says, verse 23, when he's about to fill his belly, God shall cast the fury of his wrath. All right. The fury of the Lord's wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. Shall strike him through. It is drawn, and cometh out of the body. Yea, the glittering sword, the glittering sword. Now, according to the false teachings, all right, the false doctrine, the glittering sword is the so-called white man nuclear missiles, man. All right. I'm going to show you what this glittering sword is. All you have to do is look up the definition, man. So when you look it up in the Strong's, it's H1300. And the glittering sword, the definition for the glittering sword is lightning. It's lightning. It says a flashing arrowhead. A flashing arrowhead. So it says flashing sword. Flashing sword. All right. So that's your glittering sword, man. All right. And I'm gonna prove that through the precept. So it says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword, the glittering sword. All right. That's the bow of steel, man. All right. The glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. Terrors are upon him. So
Alright, Shalom. Let's start off saying, Call Halayim La Yahawah, by Shem Yahawashi, by Shem Harikak Wadash, my month. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone. Double honors to our elder apostle as well, and her one by Yasha, all down in the Lionston camp. Salutations to the Archon that are pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh by Shem Yahawashi. Alright, I'm Khanox by Yasha Allah from the Lions of the Yasha Allah camp. And this will be a Lions Den, probably open rebuke on this individual. What is this? Teachers of the Truth? Yeah, Teachers of the Truth. Or at Waking Up Israel. I think Elder said he might be here in Jacksonville, Florida somewhere. We might have maybe debated back in the day. But that's really doesn't matter. But the point is, how he's teaching the glittering sword is lightning bolts. That's just not true. That's just false doctrine. I want to go into that a little bit. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and serve this purpose for the hopeful elect, the ones who truly believe in the name of Yahweh Shem Yahawashi. All right, so first, Let's go into this first, all right? Glittering sword, all right? Just to cut through the chase, the glittering sword are the missiles, man, bottom line. But I'm going to prove it through scriptures that it's the missiles, all right? All right, so first we're going to start out with Isaiah 9, no. Hold on. Okay, let's start out with this. Proverbs 16:4. It says, "The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil." So, in his video, he said that the Lord doesn't have to use Esau's missiles. They're not Esau's missiles, man. All this is being orchestrated by YAHAWAH'S. All right? Let's start at verse 1. This is Proverbs 16:1. It said, "The preparation of the heart in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord." Right? So the preparation of the heart, meaning the preparation of the mind of humanity, and what everybody speaks and everybody's purpose is of YAHAWAH'S. All right? I'm going to prove it. All right? Let's get, is it Sirach 33? I'm just trying to find it real quick. It might be 30. Hold on. No, okay, it's 33. It says, this is Sirach 33:10. Now we just read, right? Proverbs 16. One second. All right, back up. We just read Proverbs 16:4. Hold on. Let's switch to, okay, KJV, switch to translation. All right. Proverbs 16:1. It said, "The preparation of hearts in man and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord." All right. Why? For the Lord's purpose. All right. It says, all the ways of man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. Right. Everybody thinks that they're right in the mindset that they're in, but the only reason why they're in that mindset is because the Lord put them that way. He said the deceived and the deceiver are his. All right. This is Sirach chapter 33, verse 10. It says, "All men are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. And much knowledge the Lord have divided them and made their ways diverse." Right. So it's all for the perfecting or for the will of YAHAWAH'S. Can nobody resist the will of the Lord? So Esau bringing forth and creating, splitting the atoms, creating these missiles is all part of prophecy. It's all to show the wrath of YAHAWAH'S. So all preparation of hearts of men are of the Lord, right? And what else did we read? Said he let's keep going in back in Proverbs real quick. It says, so all ways of man are clean in Proverbs 16:2. It says, all ways of man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. It says, "Commit thy work unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established." Verse 4, this is the point. It said, "The Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil." Right? So that's the point. even the wicked for the day of evil. Lord made all things to himself. All right, so going back to Sirach, so them bringing forth the missiles wouldn't be, Esau would think it would be for his own will, but no, it's all for the will of Yahweh by Shema Shai. Back in Sirach 33 and 11, it says, in much knowledge the Lord, no, it started verse 10 again, it says, all men are of the ground, from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. In much knowledge the Lord hath divided them and made their ways diverse. All right? Some hath he blessed and exalted, and some hath he sanctified and made and set near himself. But some of them hath he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. Right? So everything on earth is here for the purpose of Yahweh by Shema Shai. As clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it as his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him to render to them as liken him best. Yahweh is set against good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. All right, it says, so look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. All right, so it's all for the purpose, just like he hallowed Jacob and brought Jacob closer to him in Abraham's bosom, giving us the kingdom, right? But he's cursed Esau, and his blessing is destruction. That sword was given unto Esau, man. All right. So now let's go to this. No, let's continue with that. All right. Hold on. Let's get All right. So now all men are of the ground, right? And he created them, made their ways diverse, and the preparation of their mind and their works that they're going to do on this earth were set in stone by Yahweh by Shema Shai. Everybody has to play their course and play their lot, as it was written by Yahweh by Shema Shai. Right. So now let's get into that. So they're not Esau's missiles, right? He used Esau to bring them forth, but they're not Esau's missiles. Okay. This is Isaiah 54 and 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. What is a smith? Look that up, right? Smith is charash. Charash, meaning a craftsman, all right, skillful to destroy, a graver, engraver, artificer, right? A carpenter, a craftsman, a mason, skillful, smith, worker, workman, all right? So I have created the craftsman, or like you have a gunsmith or a swordsmith, they create these instruments, all right? This Isaiah 54 and 16, behold, I have created, meaning Yahweh Shema Shai, created the smith that bloweth the coals, right? All right? In the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument of his work. I have created the waster to destroy. See that? That instrument that's coming forth are these missiles. That's his, and the Lord created those scientists, those Temanites in Germany, to split the atom. And it was prophecy, according to Revelation chapter 13, right? For America to introduce the world to nuclear war. All right? Hold on. Let me get this, all right? Slacky, if my audio's off, I can't find my headphones that I normally, with the mic on that I normally do it, so I'm just using my phone microphone. All right. This is let's get this. This is Ezekiel chapter 21, verse 8. It says, again the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord. Say, a sword is sharpened, right? And also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furnished that it may glitter. Let me get this. See that? It may glitter. That's them man. It says, should we then make mirth? Like, seeing that all this is going to happen, that's what? It says, seeing that all these things shall be destroyed, what manner of persons are we all to be in all holy conversation? It cometh like the rod of my son as every tree. Right? It said, and he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. His sword is sharpened, right? Meaning they're going to intensify, right, the technology of these missiles. And it shall be furbished, right? Hold on, let's look up that word furbished real quick. Let's do it. Ezekiel 21. Ezekiel 21. All right. Ezekiel 21, what's it? All right. Should be furbished, all right? Means also to sharpen, to bright, to furbish, right? See that? To sharpen, to polish. See that? It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? It cometh, the rod, it cometh, it contemneth, Slakia, the rod of my son as every tree. He hath given it to be furbished that it may be handled. His sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, and to give it into the hand of the slayer. And who was the slayer? Who was given the sword? Esau was given the sword. That was his blessing. So, rightfully so, back in Isaiah 54:16, it said, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals and the fire, and that brought forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy, man. I'm going through these scriptures first so you get so when I go back, because he broke down Job 20 and 24 wrong. So I just want to get these scriptures right here before we get into Job 20. All right. This is all right, Malachi 4:1. It says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn. No, let's not get that one yet. Let's get this one first. Isaiah 9:5. It says, Isaiah 9:5, it says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. I mean, we live in Florida, and we have thunder during the summer. We have thunderstorms every day. You know, if the Lord wanted to actually concentrate lightning more than it's already concentrated energy, I mean, he could, but that's not what he chose. He could have chose anything, but he chose humanity, right? To these individuals to live in their own delusional deception, to bring forth these instruments that are going to show the fury of YAHAWAH'S Yahawashi. All right. Isaiah 9:5 says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and in fuel of fire, man. See that? That's why the Lord created the waster to destroy. All right, and this is Isaiah 34:4. A lightning is not going to do this. It says, and this is Isaiah 34 and All right. Isaiah 34 and 1. Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear all that is therein, the world and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord, righteous anger, right? It says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. Right? There's going to be war going on. And he hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter. The slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up, and their carcasses and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. See that? And this is the point right here. It says, and all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, right? And the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, right? See that? Lightning is not going to do that. That's a mushroom cloud from a nuclear missile. And all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf falleth from the vine, and as a falling from the falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, right? Upon the people of my curse, to judgment. See that? The sword of the Lord shall be filled with blood, it shall be made fat, right? So now check this out. Sword shall be bathed in heaven, right? Let me show you that. This right here. All right. So now, I asked, if a nuclear missile launches, does it go out of the Earth's atmosphere and come back in? It says, yes, intercontinental ballistic missiles travel into outer space during their flight, then re-enter the Earth's atmosphere to strike their targets. Right, and let's see what that looks like. Real quick. Right here. See that? That's what it starts to look like when it leaves the Earth's atmosphere. I had a better one that shows it out of the Earth's atmosphere. But see, glitter means sharp or shine. That's how it's going to be glittering, man. That's how it's going to be also be bathed in heaven. Let me see if I can find that other one. Like this. See that? That bright shining thing, that's what it would look like. Leaving the Earth's atmosphere, coming back into its target. You see? So, it says, Isaiah 34 and 5, again it says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven, and it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment, man. All right? So, the Lord had them create this. All right? Let's get one more before I go into Job. Let's get Jeremiah 51. I think in 20. Hold on. Maybe it's 50. 50 and and 24. Okay. All right. This is Jeremiah 50 and 22. It says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. That was the whole point of the Lord putting it in the mind of these scientists to bring forth the weapon of his indignation. How is the hammer of the earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken. See that? And that snare was when they introduced the world to nuclear war. And that's how America's going to be taken out. Scripture said 200 million. And I heard the army of it, 200 200,000 thousands, which is 200 million. It says, O Babylon, I said, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. The Lord hath opened his armory, meaning he has multiple weapons. It said there be spirits that created for vengeance. All right? It says, and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. See that? Let's keep going. It says, come against her from the uttermost borders, meaning surround her, right? Open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing be left of her. That's the Lord calling these nations to come up against Babylon. It says, slay her bullocks, let them go down to slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. The voice of them that flee and escape of the land of Babylon to declare in Zion, all right, vengeance of the Lord, our power, the vengeance of his temple, right? It says, call together the archers against Babylon. See that? All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about. All you that have missiles. That's not talking about lightning strikes. It's not talking about lightning strikes. All right. It says, call together the archers, Jeremiah 15:29. It says, call together the archers against Babylon. All ye that bend the bow, camp against it round about. Let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work. See that? According that all she had done, do unto her. She had been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel. See that? Hold on, let's jump up to verse 54. It says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, she has sinned against the Lord. It's right there. It's just plain and simple. All right. So let's go into Job chapter 20, verse 20. And the all the way down to 25. All right. Job 20:20 says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. Right. He shall not save of that which he desired. Right. So he's not going to be able to get to the fullness, of his imagination or the system that he's trying to create. All right. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his efficiency he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. See that? That's him. That's the Lord having these nations surround this place. It says, when he's about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and it shall rain it upon him while he is eating. That is not talking about lightning. That's talking about them ICBMs being prepared for this place. All right, and what's going to happen is before the 200 million missiles come, this place is going to get hit. See, America thinks it's not going to get hit. All right, it says, all right, verse 23 again, it says, when he's about to fill his belly, Yahweh shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. All right, it says, he shall flee from the iron weapon, right? And the bow of steel shall strike him through, right? So eventually, one of these missiles is going to come through and hit, and it's going to hit on American soil. Right now, Iran is attacking military bases over there in the Middle East. But eventually, this place is going to be the target. All right? It is drawn, it cometh out of the body. All right? Yea, the glittering sword. Let's look at glittering again as he looked for it, right? H1300 Barak. It says lightning by analogy. Lightning by analogy, a gleam. Didn't I just show a picture of that? The gleaming. See? Gleam. Let's look at it again. That's one picture. See that? Lightning by analogy. So it's not talking about an actual lightning bolt. Hold on one second. All right. And we all know an analogy is a figure of speech that compares two different things, right? And kind of like using two different things as the same, you know what I'm saying? It's an instrument of destruction, right? You can call it, but it's not an actual lightning bolt. All right? It says lightning by analogy, a flashing sword, bright glitter. All right? Oh, a flashing arrowhead. See that? And they were describing things the best they knew how, because this technology wasn't even around back in those days. But they're seeing these visions that the Lord's given them, and they're trying to interpret what it is, and that's the best way they had to explain it. All right. So Job 20:24 it says, "He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. It is drawn, it cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword." Meaning he's going to look down and see, like, you know how in the movies when somebody gets stabbed from behind and they look down and they see the sword that they were stabbed in the back with coming out of their stomach? That's an analogy, or saying like that's America's going to realize they've been struck, right? The glittering sword cometh out of his gall, terrors are upon him. That's when they're going to, the moment that America gets hit, the moment that happens, that's when you're going to see this place, like you're going to see fear. You're going to see fear. See that? So that's not talking about lightning bolts, man. It's talking about the weapons of the Lord's indignation. Bottom line. Okay, so it basically explains it. The weapons of his indignation, especially when we read it in Jeremiah 50 and 25. All right? So the glittering sword is not, the glittering sword is the arrows of the Lord, but it's because he put it in the minds of these individuals to create these weapons, man. It is not lightning bolts. All right, Lord, one of this lesson to edify and serve the purpose for the hope of the elect, the one that truly believe in the name YAHAWAH'S YAHAWAH'S. With that, I'd like to say, call halayim like Yahawah, by Hashem YAHAWAH'S, by Hashem Harikak my month. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Double honors to our elder apostle as well. I heard one by Yasha Allah down in the Alliance and Camp. Salutations to the argument that are pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of YAHAWAH'S. Shalom.